Welcome back, boys and girls. This is not an episode of Carp Talk, but instead, we are going to be doing an interview with the one, the only, the unstoppable force, as I refer to him, known as Tyler Keller. I'm Ryan Ferry. With me, along with Tyler, is...
Chris Morgan.
And it's Jamie.
So, Tyler, thank you so much for coming on with us. We've been looking forward to having you on the show since Lancaster Regionals, where you top 8'd there. The first thing I want to start with is in Louisville, where you came in first place. You ran Yveltal, Zoroark, Gallade there. Obviously one of the best decks in Standard at the moment. Were there any particularly bad matchups throughout the tournament, or were there anything you were particularly worried about?
Honestly, going into it, I really wasn't worried about bad matchups, mostly because you have the Zoroark and the Gallade and the baby Yveltal. They don't really run on the Yveltal EX as it was in previous formats like Yveltal Darkrai. So with that, even if I had the matchup of Electric, like Mega Man or Raichu, I could use those guys instead just to make it even.
Let's see, so in Louisville, did you start off 4-0 or wait, I think I beat you in Swiss.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
That would have been, I believe, I didn't tie, so I was, I think I was X11. I believe it was X11.
Yeah, X11. So 4-1-1.
Yeah. I think.
And then you and myself were in the top 8 with, let's see, I know Aaron Tarbell, Alex Haas. Haas was running Entei. Tarbell was running Raichu Bats. Kevin Baxter. What was Kevin running day one?
Yvel. With Louisville, Yveltal. He was running. Yep. He did not have the break in it. That was the only difference.
He didn't have the break. Okay, so you did have the break.
Yep.
Did the break help you particularly in any of your matchups?
Not in any until the finals. Being able to do Y Cyclone and power up my second Yveltal with 1 energy apiece was the game winner there, because he couldn't knock them out, and I was able to just attach DC and knock his Yveltal out for the game.
Who'd you play in the finals?
Kevin Baxter.
K-Bax.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin's the one that basically invented that deck, from what I understand, right?
I don't know for sure. I know when Gallade first came out, a lot of people were talking Yveltal Gallade with Zoroark. I knew about it from the get-go as well, so it could have been K-Bax. I don't know.
Now let's see. In Louisville, you won it all, and in Lexington, I know things didn't go quite as well for you, but in London, things were looking up. There was obviously a shift in the meta over the course of those past 2 days. A lot of people were worried about the Entei matchup. A lot of people were worried about Manectric. A lot of people were worried about Raichu. But you went with a little bit different choice, and one that Jamie, I know, knows a little bit about, in Metal Rayquaza.
Yeah, I did. Reason why Carl Shu and Trey Reese, they were staying with me, and after Lexington, we saw Kyogre. We were just saying that, you know what, we think Metal Ray is going to be the play tomorrow. So I just went with it at the time, and we tweaked Trey's list a little bit because Trey was having actually a decent time in Lexington. He got knocked out by Carl Shu with Kyogre and the last match. So we just went with it, tweaked it, put in the Ditto, and also, what else did we put in? I think that's all. I think we took out some. We took out an AZ, and then also the Aegislash in there. And then we just put in Ditto and I think another tech, and I can't remember what it was.
Because I don't think there was a Zoroark break in that deck. I remember you playing the Ditto, and the Ditto was kind of one of the MVPs for you, at least in your matchup against DJ in top 8.
Yeah. With the matchup in top 8 with DJ, it came down to one, he did have bad draws, so that was in my favor, and then two, Bronzong was just so good. I was actually playing, and I was like, well, wait a second, does Bronzong do 50 or 60? If it does 60, this is great. And once I realized it did do 60, once Regice came into play, I just used Bronzong to attack.
Yeah, that's what I liked when I was running Gallied Fortress, is I could use Fortress to take out Regice in one hit.
Yep.
It's really nice to have that in that matchup, with it being a non-EX, and you can actually use it as an attacker every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else was I gonna ask here? Do you guys have any questions for Tyler?
What made you go with the Ditto? Because that's what I want to know.
The Ditto?
Yes.
One, when it comes to the matchups and with Zoroark and such, you can use it to counter Zoroark because you can copy the Mind Jack and knock that out. And also, if there was a Raichu, which I kind of expected there was going to be, Aaron's going to play Raichu, you can use it to do Circle Circuit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also Mirror. Like, I didn't know if maybe other Metal players would play Metal Ray, and if they did, I can then use the attack with the Ditto Shoe.
Yeah, I was really surprised when I seen that card. I was watching one of your matches earlier. I didn't do the deck check on that one, and I seen that. I was like, what in the world? And I remember that was a promo because I hadn't seen it in a long time. And I got to see, I only got to see you play it in the match that I was passing by, and then in the finals against Aaron Tarbell, I seen you use it.
Yeah, because whenever you was playing Squeaky, I was sitting right beside you. He's like, I have no idea what in the world that thing is. What is this? For those of you who don't know, the Pika Ditto, or whatever people call it, Ditto Chew, its ability is basically Kecleon that lets you mimic your opponent's attack. And it's really, really good. I like it.
Against colorless attacks.
And I know that Chris has some experience, or Jamie has some experience, especially facing off against one Kecleon.
Yep.
Yeah, all my bad beat stories are with Cabellion, so no Kecleon for me. Probably the coolest thing, though, I've seen, it's a really testament to your ability to play this game and stuff, is I watched a couple of your matches at Louisville, and I love how you would accelerate out what you needed with your Shamans, and then you'd instantly drop down Parallel City and flip it around and get rid of all the easy outs for your opponent and make them have to play the 6-prize game, even though you've got plenty of EXs in your deck.
Parallel City. Yeah, I love that card. A lot of people kind of like played down it, being like, oh, it's not that great. But I just found it so useful for that play, just being, because in this format, like we had the last format, Jirachi was such an easy 2 prizes for the end of the game. So why have Shamans on the board where that could be the same principle? So I was like, okay, Parallel City, drop me down. Cool. I only need 3 Pokemon to play this game. I don't need a full bench. So that's why I played it a lot, and it helped me out at the finals with Kevin, because just getting rid of my Shamans kind of took those 2 prizes away from him.
Yeah, every game that I seen you played in, it gave you like a huge edge against everybody, and then you just centered up for the win against them.
Yep.
Yeah, I had people when I was playing them. I know when I was playing Lance Bradshaw, for example, at Swiss in Louisville, he was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to set down this Parallel City so you can only have 3 bench Pokemon. I'm like, all right, Shaman. There's your easy prizes. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the only deck it's really super effective against on that end is the Raichu Bats, because they just rely on it so much that if you get rid of a bunch of it at one time, it's harder for them to bounce back.
Rayquaza.
Shut up.
Yeah, I forgot Rayquaza's a deck.
We forgot Rayquaza's a deck, and we're interviewing a guy who played Rayquaza.
That's right. But to be fair, he played the other deck twice.
I did. Second day was a bad choice. I was actually thinking about playing Night March at the time, with the Vespa Queen, which I think would have been a better meta call, as we see. So, yeah.
You want to take us round by round for the tournament you won in Louisville? Tell us what you played against each round. I know it's been a while ago.
It's been a while ago, so I'm trying to get a backtrack. So I played. Let's go back from the end. So I played Kevin, and then top 4 I played Aaron, and then top 8 I played Ryan. Before that I played John Bradshaw. What was it, 6-round tournament?
Yeah.
You're asking way too much, guys.
We're sorry.
Because let's start this off, and the best way ever. So I just got off of work, 2 hours of sleep, and I'm playing in this event. Let's see. So I'll start that off. So, what was my first round match? I can't remember. I know I played against a Houndoom Bumblebee. I played against Ryan in Swiss with Entei Charizard.
Played against me.
The what?
You beat me in Swiss.
All right. Can't remember that either. Oh, yeah, because you Vileplume. You played Vileplume. I remember that. That was my second to last round. I remember that because John was the final round. Let's see. Trying to figure this out. Well, let's, for time's sake, couple matches like the Houndoom Bumblebee. I did not play a Seismitoad at the time. Reason for that, I just didn't. I know a lot of other Yveltal players played it. I didn't. But how that matchup went was pretty much that was against Jeff Garrison. And my whole goal in that matchup was just to get a big Yveltal EX out. Whether that be through Baby Yveltal to just attach from the discard or just to manually attach. Once I got it up to, I believe, once I had the 2 energies and a DC attached to it, I started attacking with Yveltal EX and just knocking it out. And at that point, actually, because it was a mill deck, I actually played the Parallel City against him to drop him down to 3. The reason why, because I saw that he had Crawdont. And so with that, I was like, okay, if he lays down multiple Crawdonts, he can knock out all my energy. Lysander Crawdont, killed Crawdont. He brought up Houndoom, killed Shaman, win. Pretty much it. He never took a prize. I don't know why.
Houndoom Mill tends not to take prizes.
Yep.
Yeah. I play tested a lot against Zach Carmichael, and he was running that at League and stuff. So I pretty much knew what to do in that situation, but it was incredibly exhausting the first couple times I played in.
Which was weird, because when I played against one in Lexington, I kind of just sat back and just said, okay, well, I know what this is doing, so here you go, and power up Big Yveltal and knocked it out then. Couldn't do anything then. At the time, I played Seismitoad in Lexington. But getting back to Louisville. Against Ryan, I would say Ryan had a strong start, very strong start. He just had Entei powered up, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm facing off against a giant Entei. In the end of the game, I had the Verseeker prize, which could have gave me the Lysander, and I had to burn a lot of stuff at the beginning for resources to try to keep up with him. In the end, he kind of, I believe, killed 1 or 2 Shaman, Ryan. Do you remember?
God, I think it was 2.
I think it was.
Because I had both my Lysanders in my hand at the same time and was just like, oh, here we go, 4 easy prizes.
Yep.
Because I knew you would have had to have grabbed the judge, and I knew you discarded 2 Versus Seekers early on, so the odds of grabbing one to judge me again were very slim.
Yep. I remember that. Yeah, it was, he took 2 Shaman, which then kind of put me in a bad spot. So I lost that matchup. Let's see. Against the Vileplume, what I ended up doing was that at the beginning of the game, I started with Zoroark, and I had Zoroark and DC in hand. And so what I needed to do to make sure, I wanted to make sure that I had Zora in play. I didn't want to make sure that he got a milk tank and powered it up and killed it. I didn't know if the milk tank was in there or not. So what I did, I retrieved Zora, had Lysander in hand as well. So I had the setup for if he got the Vileplume, because I counted his bench and everything. And so the next turn, after he set up Vileplume, I just brought up Zoroark, DC attached, catch it up Vileplume, knocked it out. Which then I put Chris in a bad spot, because then he had to, 1, set up another Vileplume to lock my trainers, and 2, at the time, that's when I found out he played Noctowl instead. So from there, I believe he eventually got another Vileplume in play. I knocked that out again, and it just kind of was Zoroark winning me that match.
Yeah, that deck really played into Zora's favor because, I had to have out everything to kind of get as much out of my hands as possible to Shaman and stuff. And then after that first one went down, it was just so much digging. I basically almost decked myself before you killed me, which is odd.
Yeah.
Normally what that deck does. But you specifically didn't drop down any EXs that I could, use Regis on and stuff too. So
yeah,
which you don't really have to if you got Zoroark anyway. He's better anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. Ben. Talk about Ryan. Talk about Houndoom Mill. I played against John Bradshaw. He had a fighting deck. We're friends. So it came down to that we were going to tie. And so he ended up saying, he just ended up giving me the win to help me out. He's a good friend like that. Just he does that with a lot of us that travel with him a lot. So that was just a nice way of just saying, okay, hey, we can't tie. One of us has to win. And he was fine with it. And I believe now we're kind of getting into the top 8 matches. I can't remember the rest. But top 8, Ryan. It was Ryan Ferry and myself.
Yeah. You flat out played me, I'm not going to lie.
I realized that I didn't have to scrap as many resources in this match with you. Because I was like, okay, I've seen what it plays, I've seen how it plays. And so, game 1, let's see. It was still a good game. Like game 1 was we went back and forth a lot. Me taking some Shamans, he took some Shamans, taking our main prizes as well. I believe I used Yveltal EX a lot in that matchup too.
Yeah.
Just knocking it out. And then game 2, let's see,
I know game two went a little more in my favor.
Yeah, you did.
Game 3 was the big one, though.
Yes.
That was the one where you got a really big lead on me, and I started to come back.
Yep. And what happened when I noticed in game 3 that kind of swung the matchup in my favor, gave me the last few prizes, was Assault Fest. He had an Assault Fest to attach, and he ended up attaching it to an Entei instead of a Shaman. He had a Shaman on board, which Y Cyclone can do 110, which is knocking out a Shaman. And so when he did that, I was like, okay, cool. There's my last 2 prizes, Lysander Shaman game. And so I took that series.
That really influenced how I played it the rest of the time, too, how I played it in Lexington especially.
It's good. It's good. Yeah, because Shaman with an Assault Vest makes that thing pretty big. Like that's like 150 HP Pokemon.
150.
Yep. Top 4 with Aaron. That really was just, he had bad draws. Literally, he got bad draws the first game with Pikachu, knocked those out, and then second game was the same thing. Just he started Zubat, and I was able to just knock it out in 2 turns, and that just gave me the win there because that was one of my worst matchups ever. And then finals, K-Bax against K-Bax. Game 1, I knew how that game plays out. It's going to be based on Yveltal EX in a way. Like, it was going to come down to Big Yveltal versus Big Yveltal. And so in that matchup, what you have to do is just time your energy drops so that you're not giving him enough energy to one-shot.
Mm-hmm.
So use Galate a lot there in Zoroark. Didn't really get the Zoroark break in that matchup, which would have been helpful. But then ended up taking game 1, and then in game 2, it did come down to time, where, as we saw, I had a Zoroark up front. He put 50 damage on me, and what I did, I braked it and attached a Dark Energy, which, because I had 2 Yveltal AXs on the field, the prizes was 3-2. I Y-Cycloned to win that game of the series, but since he couldn't knock 2 prizes out, he had to take the Zoroark, which then tied up the prizes. Next prize won. I won with Yveltal. So.
And then you brought home that sweet, sweet Zoroark, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, Tyler, where does that put you points-wise after this whole series?
120.
120.
Mm-hmm.
So you still need 300, and we still got winter, spring, regionals, and states to go through. You think you'll be able to get it?
States, I'm actually planning on going to Florida regionals, which that's going to be interesting because it's a whole new meta. So I'm going to have to do a lot more research on the next set, see what could be incorporated, and kind of see what's going to win the other regionals as well, because that's going to help out with the meta calls going into Florida.
Will Florida be like the one regional where the new set's legal?
Yes.
And it's not legal anywhere else?
Yes, that's correct. So it's going to be that twist of, do you go with safety and play like Speed Yveltal, or do you go with something new where you think could win the game, or win the...
So is that one going to be standard or expanded?
Expanded.
Expanded, so
So
Archie still has Auroras.
There you go. Use Auroras.
Auroras? What's that do?
Archie still has Aurora CX. Let's see. Let me go ahead and grab the picture of that so I can...
Basically, its attack is like 4 energy, 160, and it can't use that attack the next turn, but you can rush and retreat, muscle band, 180 over and over and over.
Yeah, here we go. Each of your Pokemon that has water energies attached to it can't be... Let's see, it says asleep on this, but I'm fairly sure it's paralyzed in English.
It's paralyzed.
And then for 3 water and a colorless Crystal Breath does 160. This Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. You can just rush in and retreat with Keldeo and reset that effect. Slap a muscle band on, you're doing 180.
Wow.
And it's got 180 HP. Or you could slap on, say, Fighting Spirit Belt, for example, do 170 and have it have 220 HP.
Okay. What's it, metal, or is it going to be weak to grass?
Weakness is metal.
Metal. Okay. That's pretty good.
That's a good weakness to have in expanded.
Yeah.
Because metal doesn't have as much of a presence there unless it's as a support.
Yep.
Any more city championships you're going to through this cycle?
At first, I wasn't planning on it. Kind of was just taking a break. School starting soon, but I may hit up Sevierville this coming weekend just to play one more tournament.
Yeah, that's the plan here as well, is to hit Sevierville.
Join us.
Is City's over after Sevierville? Is that the last one? Does anybody know?
I can't imagine there being much more after that.
I don't know. I think maybe there's one coming up the 12th, but I don't know where in particular.
Yeah, I was looking up all the events to see if I could scramble something in tomorrow, but I really don't want to drive 220 miles to do it.
Don't
Yeah.
blame you on that. But we're all going to go to Sevierville as well, ain't we?
Yeah.
Is that confirmed? Yeah.
That's the plan.
Oh, so it's time to go fishing?
Mm.
Yeah, time for you to go fishing.
Oh, man, time for me to go fishing.
So going to run a fisherman in my deck now just for that.
So I don't remember who made the joke, but if we hit 20 members, does that mean we'll become Team Gyarados?
Yep.
Because we'll have hit level 20? God, I don't even remember who made that joke now, but I think the joke was made in London.
Seems like Brick made that joke, but I can't remember.
It was Brick or JD. It was either one of those two. I remember it was someone sitting next to us.
It was Brick.
Brick?
That sounds like a Brick joke.
Yeah, it's a brick thing.
Then again, Brick also tried to moon the camera. I didn't notice that until I saw the picture.
Anyway, is there any more questions we going to ask Kyler here?
We get it, Jamie. You have a game of Force of Will to get back to.
No, I'm done for the night. I'm at home alone now.
I think we've about covered it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for coming on our show, Tyler. If you're in the area, guys, Tyler is the professor for the league in Louisville at Through the Decades, correct?
That's correct.
So you can meet this wonderful guy and all of our good friends in Louisville.
Be glad to have you guys.
I think that's going to be it. And until next time, this has been Jamie.
And this is Chris.
And this has been Ryan.
And you guys, you keep splashing.
Keep splashing, Carpaholics.